Welcome to Guru's Real Estate Agent Coaching Radio. My name is Bill Zeltman and I'm your host. Welcome to our first podcast. We're happy to have you, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm known as America's Real Estate Guru. The reason for that is I have a background in training and development and coaching successful realtors to make them top realtors in the marketplace. And that's the purpose of this podcast. This podcast is going to be done weekly, and each week we are going to go through different things, different topics, different foundations that we have of success for realtors to make you successful at your craft, to make you the best at what you do. My background, I have an MBA in digital marketing, finishing a doctorate in organizational leadership. I started my first business when I was 22 years of age. I used to own health clubs. I went from that business to working in the Medicare arena, managing, a fitness program for seniors, again, working in managed care. And I came into real estate about 10 years ago, actually 2013, end of 2013. And when I saw this business, I saw three things that I thought were in complete disrepair, disarray, and needed to be fixed. The first issue I saw was the broker agent model. Why is a broker competing for business with their agents? Why does a broker sell real estate? A broker's job is to oversee everyone else in the office. It's to train, it's to nurture, it's to help their agents all be successful. Instead, most brokers, all they care about is hiring, especially if they work for a big company, hiring so their boss, whoever they report to, isn't on them about not hiring enough people. Did you make your quota? Good, here's your bonus. Doesn't matter that 7 or 8 out of 10 of those people never sold a house and failed. It just matters that you hired 20 people this year, or whatever that number was. It's ridiculous. Second thing is, so now an agent comes in and they want your help. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy because I've got clients today. I've got to go out and do a showing. I've got to go out into a listing appointment. And so what ends up happening? These agents end up competing with the person that's supposed to be mentoring them and coaching them. They don't learn what they need to do and they end up out of the business. Second thing I saw that was absolutely horrendous in this industry was the marketing. I walked into real estate offices and I saw business cards of people with their pictures from the 80s. You see the big hair, whether it's the guys or the girls, they all had big hair, right? Back in the 80s, right? Well, then I realized that it wasn't just that they hadn't updated the picture in their business card. All of their marketing was the same thing that they've been doing since the Reagan administration. I mean, these people are still using billboards, they're still using postcards, and they're still using grocery stores and placemats at the local diner or restaurants. And again, not that any of those initial initiatives are horrible, but there's so many better, more cost-effective, higher return on investment things out there that nobody in this industry even understands. This industry, when I got into it, didn't even know what the term SEO, search engine optimization, was. How to use a website. They didn't understand, what it was to have a landing page. Social media, forget it. They didn't even, I had a past president of the National Association of Realtors in late 2014, might have been early 2015, tell me that having a realtor having a Facebook page was a waste of their time. A waste of their time. This is what they told me. Well, now, wow, haven't they evolved? Now these big companies and people like that will tell you, oh, you have to have a Facebook page. Oh, yes. And now they've gotten so evolved and learned so much about it, and it's really good to have a lot of fans. Yeah, well, let me tell you something. You can have 1 million fans, and if none of them are picking up the phone to call you to list their house, you've got nothing. The industry doesn't understand the power of digital marketing, whether it be websites, social media, text messaging, all these different things, how to use it, how to use content management to generate leads. And so that was the second reason I got in this business. The third reason I got in this business was the training. I'm sorry, I shouldn't even use the word training. Again, as somebody here, we're in a doctorate in organizational leadership. What this industry calls training is not training. It is maybe an orientation, but it's absolutely disgusting. And it's the reason that companies are losing 7 out of 10 agents in their first year. 7 out of 10. 10 people come into this business, I'm going to be a realtor full time. 12 months later, 7 of them are out of the business. Maybe they still have a license, but they're not doing this full time. They're probably not even doing it part time. And the reason is not that we bring bad people or that it's a power or numbers game or that somebody's lucky. It's because they were not trained properly. Okay? They weren't trained properly. We have a 4-week training that we do with you. Yeah, okay. Can you learn a new career in 4 weeks? The answer is absolutely not. So when I got in this industry, I said, these 3 things, I'm going to tackle these 3 things. First of all, I'm not going to be a broker that competes with his agents. I don't want to be out there selling real estate, and it's not my skill set. My skill set is to help other people succeed. The second thing I said when I got in this business is let's totally revamp and teach agents how to be digital creators. Teach them how to harness the power of the internet to generate leads. Not to generate more fans, not to generate this, that, whatever, but to actually generate leads that are interested in selling or buying real estate now. Third thing was, I said, we're going to revamp this entire training or lack thereof. It's funny, I have people come in to my brokerage and I tell them, here's the syllabus. I said, does any of the other companies, anybody other companies that you went to, they have a training syllabus? And here's the thing about it. Those other companies don't even know what the word syllabus means. They don't even know what a syllabus is. I have a thick syllabus that we get, and it's 26 weeks of training that takes someone from not knowing anything about real estate to making them an absolute expert. And so that's where you're sitting here on Guru's Real Estate Agent Coaching Radio. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go through many of the same topics as I do in my 26-week class. We're going to go through more advanced trainings. We're going to help people that are in the beginning of their career. So what's this radio show for? It's for beginners, it's for intermediates, and it's for the best of the best of people that are out there to help each and every one of you be a success in real estate, to get better. If you're new in this business, it's about teaching you the basics and the fundamentals and getting you doing them day in and day out and making habits. If you're an intermediate, okay, you closed 15 deals last year. Okay, not bad, but you don't want to close 15 every year. You want to get to 30, right? Or more, or 50, or you want that number to increase. Let us be there. This class is going, let us be there with this class because we're going to help you with that. And for you people that are out there closing 100, 200 more deals a year, we're also going to have stuff for you in this class as well. Some of these things may just be reminders. Some of them may just be a swift kick in the rear end to get you off and doing those right things day in and day out. But this radio show is for each of you. We're excited to have you. And again, just wanted to introduce myself. When I come back, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the foundations of what makes a realtor a top 10% realtor. And again, that's what we're going to talk about in this show, how to make you one of the top 10% of producers all across the country. We'll be back in just a minute after these messages.
You are one of many realtors in your town. Most realtors use the same marketing tactics. They buy leads, door knock, send postcards. With no product differentiation, the client chooses the agent doing the most business. Why shouldn't they? That realtor uses the same marketing templates as you, but has proven to the client that they can get the job done with their track record of business. Meanwhile, you and the hundreds of other local realtors are all using the same marketing strategies and can't show that you're as successful as that top agent, while the client learns to ignore your efforts. This is where the My Town Guru's marketing and learning system comes in. We only work with one realtor per town, differentiating them as the digital mayor or guru of their town. How do we do this? We create a website and social media pages exclusively for your town. We include local news, events, and partner with local businesses to provide fresh, up-to-date content management on your website and social media sites. Next, we help you build a community on social media, creating a unique place where neighbors can meet and share local news, events, local happenings, heads-up notifications, job postings, advice, lost pets, remember whens, and more, all with you in the center of it. We then teach you how to leverage relationships with local business owners and community organizations. Our unique solution allows them to post on your webpage and social media sites for free and instantly builds value and trust while anchoring you as the local expert and a resource for your community. This makes relationship building simple with every business and community organization in your town and makes you the natural realtor for them to refer business to. Also included is our Step Ahead Real Estate Training Academy. Our industry-best online learning system and daily motivation videos teach you the skills you need to be a top realtor. There are 12 tracks of learning, 48 learning modules, and over 500 individual lessons and breakout sessions. This is the best educational system available to realtors, all included in the My Town Gurus system. Stand out from the crowd and stop marketing your way to mediocrity. Become the official town guru of your town today. Contact us now for a free demo and to reserve your town. Hurry before it's gone.
We're back. Welcome back to Guru's Real Estate Agent Coaching Radio. I'm your host, Bill Zeltman. As we had said, we're going to start now getting into some of the different things and some of the foundations of what make a realtor successful. It's very simple. I always tell people that real estate is a very simple game to be, or business, I should say, to be successful in, but it's not always easy. There's a lot of things that you have to do that are hard work. They're not necessarily hard things to do, but you have to do them, and you have to do them day in and day out. One of the toughest things that people have in this business, and the biggest thing, is consistency. People are not consistent as realtors. They do the right things haphazardly. Sometimes they do the right things until it works, and then they get a client, and they stop doing those things until it's time to get a client again. That doesn't work, okay? In the real estate business, I ask every one of my agents to give me 3 hours interrupted every day, 5 days a week. 3 hours of uninterrupted prospecting. What is prospecting? Prospecting is talking to someone that has a real estate need. They want to sell a house, they want to buy a house. Talking to someone that may in the future have a real estate need. Talking to someone that may know someone else that has a real estate need. The problem of what happens is we teach this, we show you scripts, we teach scripts in my training programs. We have people rehearse the scripts. We have groups, we have what's called Prospecting Power Hour, where we coach you while you're doing the scripts. And what ends up happening? An agent calls, they get a listing appointment. Now they're ecstatic, right? Maybe they're an hour into their 3 hours. They're ecstatic. What do they immediately do? They stop for the next 2 hours. They don't make calls anymore. And they go and they prep for the listing appointment. Wrong. That is not what you do. You finish your 3 hours. Maybe you get a second appointment. Maybe you get a third appointment. Maybe it's a banner day. You get 3 appointments in 3 hours. Wow. But that's not what 90%, 95% of agents do. They called for an hour. They got the listing appointment. They run out. They drop their phone and they go out to their computer. They run to their broker, if their broker's even available. And they say, how do I put together a CMA? I got to do a listing appointment. That is wrong. And you're like, how in the world is that wrong, Bill? Well, it's wrong because your number one priority every day is spending 3 hours a day. And again, 3 hours a day, 15 days a week. 15 hours a week, 5 days a week, okay? So Monday to Friday for 3 hours each day on the phone. What I call ear to ear, which means on the phone. Face to face. You can be out at a networking event, and that counts as prospecting as well, as long as you're having real conversations. Or, it sounds dirty, but it's not, finger to finger, texting, messaging, having legitimate real estate conversations with people that are either looking to sell or buy themselves or may know someone else that is. And you have to have that type of conversation. Just having a conversation with somebody and maybe mentioning that you're a realtor, that doesn't count. The other thing that's important is to understand, maybe I should have said this before I even went to the 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, is you need to know the minimum number of people you need to speak to a day and have a legitimate real estate conversation. Is it 8? Is it 10? Is it 18? I have programs, and I'm happy to help anybody. Just get in touch with me, or your broker should have them, that will tell you if you want to make $150,000 in real estate this year, you need to, and the average sales in your marketplace is, let's say, $400,000, just as an example, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can put in and plug in the formula and know that I need to speak with 10 people a day. That's not 10 dials. That's 10 people that I had a legitimate phone call or face-to-face with that I talked about real estate, okay? And I did what I call my 3-3 rule. What is my 3-3 rule? You hand a person, if you're face-to-face, you hand them 3 business cards. And you say 3 things. You tell them what your name is. You tell them what you do for a living, and you ask them that if they or anybody they know has a real estate need, that they would get in touch with you. So if I was meeting you, I would say, hi, my name's Bill Zeltman. I'm a realtor, and I'd give the name of my brokerage, Century 21 Circle. I would hand you 3 business cards and say, if you or any of your friends have a real estate need, please let me know. Do you have any real estate needs right now? Yes, no, maybe I have a friend, maybe I've got a sister or a brother or whatever. That is a legitimate real estate conversation. And this is what you need to be doing 3 days a week for 5 days, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week for 15 hours. And what is it about? It's about the power of consistency. Top realtors know that if I wake up today, I've got a listing appointment at 3 o'clock, I've got a buyer's appointment at 5 o'clock, before that I've got a closing at 1 o'clock. What's the most important of those things that I need to go do today? Oh, the answer is none of the above. Yes, going to a closing, going to a listing appointment, going to a buyer's appointment is very important, but it's not the most important part of my day. The most important part of my day is spending 3 hours, again, on the phone, face-to-face, ear-to-ear, like I said, face-to-face, or finger-to-finger, talking to people about real estate prospecting. It doesn't matter if I have 30 appointments this week. Be a heck of a week, right? Doesn't matter if I have 0 appointments this week. Be a horrible week. The point is that every day, no matter whether things are good, bad, or indifferent, I spend my 3 hours on the phone, face-to-face, getting more appointments. And if I do this consistently, day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out, you will be a top 10% realtor. Problem is, 90% of realtors out there won't. Why won't they? Because they get distracted. Because it's work. Listen, work, okay, yes, it's work. This is a job. You own your own business. Yeah, you're your own boss. Oh, yeah. All that's true. But the truth is, you want to be successful? You want to stay your own boss? You need to work. And I'm not asking you to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I'm asking you to do the hard work inside of 15 hours. That's it. 3 hours a day is all I'm asking. Put that time aside. I can't stress this enough. For you guys that are new realtors, maybe this is new to you. But for you guys that are intermediate, I promise you, this is the difference between you closing 15 deals this year and next year closing 30, 40, 50 deals. For you people out there that are already closing that many or more, this is a reminder of what's causing that to happen. What's causing that to happen is that you're continuing to do this day in, day out. It's a habit. You have time that you don't allow to be disturbed. You say that every day from 9 a.m. to noon, I will not take other calls. A mortgage person calls me, a client calls me, my broker calls me. Call them back at 12:01. This time is sacred. I am the only person that is going to be an advocate for this time. Everything in your life has an advocate for your time. Your kids want you to go to a baseball game with them. Your husband or your wife or your whatever, they want you to do this, do that. Your broker wants this. The mortgage person wants you to get a copy of the W-2s or whatever. They're all advocates for your time. The only person that's an advocate for your time for prospecting is you, and I put it on you. Don't let anyone take this sacred time from you each day, 3 hours, and be disciplined and go do it. We'll talk more about this in other times through this program. There are three things that can happen, just finishing this up, tying a bow on this. There are three things that happen in the world. One, the economy. The economy may be good, the economy may be bad. Is there anything you can do to control that? Absolutely not. So why are you spending time on it? Do you need to know the economy and understand? Yes. Do you need to know that, on Wednesday the Feds are going to meet and they have what's going to happen with interest rates and what's going to happen maybe in June, whether they decide to reserve to maybe raise rates again or not, where they say, no, we're not going to do it. Yeah, you need to know all that stuff. Absolutely. But it can't change what you do day in and day out. Seasonality. All right, for those of you up north, it snows in January. We never show any houses. We've got the spring buying season, the fall buying season. We've got the dead days of summer. We've got the dead days of Christmas. Blah blah blah. You can't control the economy. You can't control what day it is or what month it is. What you can control is the third factor, and that's inconsistent lead generation. And I said I was going to wrap a bow on this. Well, here it is. I don't care if it's December 1st, May 1st, July 1st. I don't care if it's spring buying season. I don't care if it's fall buying season. I don't care if there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. All right, there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. What else do you have to do? Get on the phone. Pick up the phone. Call people. Make appointments. Yeah, well, we don't want to do anything until the snow melts. No problem. How about we set up for March 15th? And I'll check back with you then. We'll set up to have a call. And you start building your pipeline out. This will keep you having consistent business all the time, people. So follow me on that. Next thing I want to talk about is the 100-day effect. Okay? What's the 100-day effect? Okay, so the biggest question I get asked as a broker all the time. I'm a new agent. How long is it going to take until I get to my first closing? Well, if you do everything I teach you, and you do everything the right way, you really should consider 100 days from the first day you prospect to closing. Why? It's like a car factory. I always compare it to a car factory. If you walked into a car dealership today and said, I want to order a car. I don't want one that's on the lot. I want to order it. Are they going to have it for you tomorrow? No. It's going to take them about 3 months, about the same as what we're talking here. We're talking 100 days here, right? Because they have to go and they have to build the car from scratch. You are building a car from scratch, if you don't mind the analogy here. So what's the first thing you need to start building a car? You need raw materials. Your real estate factory needs raw materials. Raw materials are what? You having these 3 hours of conversations every day. You're putting raw materials into your factory. Some of those are better than others, right? Some of them you pop right in and they become on a listing right away. Some of them you may not use for 6 months or 9 months because they're a buyer that's not going to buy until 8 months from now, or they're a seller that's not going to sell until next year. That's okay. But you keep putting raw materials into your factory. As your factory continues to go, some of those raw materials over the course of days and weeks here are going to become buyers and sellers. Buyers and sellers move further along that pipeline in that factory. Again, imagine just a conveyor belt moving these people along. So now you're showing houses. Now you're at a listing appointment, right? So now you've gotten to that point. You move to the next part of your conveyor belt. Next part of your conveyor belt, you're with a buyer and you got to go do a home inspection. So you call a home inspector. You're with a listing, right? And so what do you have to do there? You have to make sure that you get through the home inspection. You're ready to counter if they have a home inspection issue and get them ready for that and get title ready and all those nice things. But meanwhile, while you're down the belt a bit and you have your factory workers, right? Who are your factory workers? If you're working with a buyer, let's just use a buyer for example, right? You found the house, you wrote the contract. Now, your first factory worker is the home inspector. Your other factory worker is the mortgage rep. It's going to start working on the mortgage. Well, while these people are working, and they should always be working, if you haven't had a conversation with your home inspector in a while, what does that mean? It means you haven't brought a new buyer to the table for a while, what does that mean? Go all the way back to the beginning of your assembly line. You're not putting raw materials in every day. Get the raw materials, put them in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out. And then you got your mortgage person, and you're always talking to your mortgage person. You're always talking to your home inspector. You're always talking to somebody's appraiser if there's questions on that. You're always talking to a title company. You're always going to a closing. And it will take you about 100 days to get that conveyor belt rolling. But one of the things that you need to make sure that is if you are consistently doing lead generation, you are going to consistently have somebody on every part of that belt. So you always are having closings. The biggest mistake people make is they're inconsistent with their lead generation, and therefore they're inconsistent with their closings. They got 3 clients, they stop making calls. Those clients close, let's say 2 out of 3 of them close. Oh shoot, I need business. They go back and start all over again on the phone. Don't be that person. Make it your first priority. The 3-3 rule I already went through, but I just want to reiterate that one more time. You meet anyone in person. I said this kind of, talking about phone calls, but it's the same thing. You meet someone in person, you always hand them 3 business cards. After you've handed them 3 business cards, you tell them 3 things. You tell them your name, you tell them that you're in real estate, and again, you ask them if they or anyone they know has a real estate need. And then you just tell them, I'll be in touch again in a couple months. And you call every person in your life 4 times a year. Now, if somebody says, I want to sell my house, you're going to call them, much more often than that. But for that person that maybe didn't have anybody right now, they didn't have any needs right now, set up the expectation that you're going to speak with them 4 times a year. Every time you meet someone new, put them in your client relationship management tool, set an appointment to call them 4 times a year. Let them know, let them expect, okay? When you are done the conversation with this person, what do I want you to do? I want you to write notes in your client relationship management tool. I spoke to my friend Frank and he told me about little Johnny. Little Johnny started T-ball this year. It's his first year playing organized sports, right? Hang up the phone, I write that down, I schedule an appointment 3 months from today. 3 months from today, I call him. I don't remember what we spoke about because I'm doing the right thing and calling 3 hours of people a day, right? Well, I look at my notes. Little Johnny started T-ball. Hey, how did T-ball season go for little Johnny? And it gives me that trigger to remember to make that call or what to say on that call from what I talked about on the previous call. And I do that every time. So if I hang up the phone, if I see somebody out in public, I immediately go to my client relationship management tool and I put an appointment in to call that person 3 months from today if they don't have a real estate need. I also want to, if I know their birthday, make sure that one of those 4 calls are on their birthday. So for example, if you were calling me, my birthday's February 2nd. How would you want to do it? You'd want to have one call on February 2nd to wish me a happy birthday. Then you'd call me May 2nd, which is today, right? Then you'd call me August 2nd, and you do it around that, and that way you can sit there and wish me a happy birthday or wish whoever, a happy birthday, which will bring you, it'll raise you up the list. What other salesperson called you on your birthday? Nobody did. So that absolutely works. So if you get in the habit, I had a conversation, whether it's on the phone, in person, or whatever, to immediately go to your CRM and schedule that next meeting, whether it be in 3 months or in 3 days because the person's ready to go. Schedule it. The only time you don't go into the future and schedule for somebody if you see them 3 months from today is when? At their funeral. Okay, is that morbid? Yes. Does it drive the point home? It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter what the conversation was. Always schedule 3 months from now. That way you never lose track of anybody in your CRM. Every person in your CRM becomes somebody that you are having regular contact with in perpetuity, and you're going to remember what the conversation was about because you're going to jot down a sentence or two of notes. So when you pick up the phone, you're picking up where you left off. This, guys, is how you build a sphere of influence. This, guys, is how you build relationships. And this is how you build a $1 million, $2 million, $5 million relationship. It's real estate business. These are the basics, guys, but they work. I want to thank everybody for joining me today for Real Estate Agent Coaching Radio. Again, my name is Bill Zeltman, America's Real Estate Guru. I invite you to follow me at America's Gurus. Join us each week for this radio show. We're going to go more in depth. Next week, we're going to talk a bit about social media and social media setup. We're going to talk about campaigns. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff like that. So make sure you save our podcast, subscribe to our podcast, and we will see you next week on the Guru's Real Estate Agent Coaching Radio.